Yeah, what's up, guys? We're here with George. Let's check out the new shirts. George on the back of the shirt.
Yo, yo.
Yeah. If you guys want to get these shirts, check out the Happy Pill online store. Link in the video description. George, tell them what they need to do for the YouTube channel.
You gotta like, you gotta share, you gotta subscribe, you gotta comment, you gotta tell your friends, call up your mother, tell her Happy Pill Project.
Yeah, everything.
Subscribe to the Happy Pill. Always subscribe to the Happy Pill. So let's go back. Let's go how we ended off, guys. The other day, I was going through arm drags, right? And we had pushed this down, shot this through, pulled, and I was trying to either reach here or here, and now he flared that hip, right? And then I explained about you retracting your legs back, coming up on top of him, getting your head higher than his so that you could bring this thing down so that he couldn't re-drag me. And then we went through another secondary re-drag so that's how we left off, right? So I want to keep it simple before we add these different angles. So one of the ones that we did, and this is exactly how we left off. We left off with the drag, right? He flared the hip, you came up, and then as you came up, and what we were doing with Danny and Saeed was I had Danny recommit on the second drag because he realized he lost the angle, and then he went on the second drag. And on the second drag, okay, this is where we were. So I'll explain it right now. We went like this. He comes like this. I reach. He flares. I come up. He realizes I'm about to come up. And before I can get my head up, he re-drags me. And I go, okay, so I come here. And it says, so I re-dragged him because I realized like I couldn't get my head over the top. So now when we landed on the second sequence, we were just like this. And I told you on the land of the second sequence, so that he doesn't pull that thing off again, you took this leg and captured this ankle. And now I started pivoting his hips. And that's how we're going to start. Okay, so we're going to start off the first drag, but then we're going to have variations down here. So we're going to go same position we were in. Okay, this is the same exact thing. Let me have you again. You're just like this. I pull down. I go yanking. No, don't go out. So now I just said, remember we said at this point, he's trying to reset because I'm here in this position trying to reach. So this hand, right, was determined, right? Because if this hand was in the middle, I told you a different thing. I told you if that hand stuck, you grip this hand over the top because that hand's stuck in there and he couldn't get it out. But in this look, he defends properly. He defends, he's resetting his head. So this isn't gonna help. His hand's here, I can't go reconnect my hands. By the time I do that one, he's already left me. So I make a Y wedge, I take this leg out, and now I shove this to one side so I can get the angle behind this deltoid. So I take my leg out, and as I'm pulling forward, I extend this leg out as far as possible because I want to pull with my hamstring, at the same time use him as a physical tool so I can turn this angle. So this is how this is looking. I'm like this. Okay, and now I'm not grabbing up here because that wouldn't benefit me. That helped me before, so he couldn't reset the head. So my first grip is here. So I'm going to ask you to do 3 different variations. This is the first one, okay? So we're like this right now. One of the ones, in the second one, we'll do a reversal, but right now I'm looking like this. So I'm actually going to push forward a little bit so that I know this pocket's open right here. So as I land, I put my ankle to ankle. Do not let me see you take this ankle and put it up high behind his kneecap. What I'm looking to do is manipulate the kneecap. I want him to turn his hip to relieve the pressure. So this ankle, when I drop this ankle, it's at his ankle because I want to manipulate the kneecap, okay? Second is, as I'm pulling, I'm making as much torque, so I'm driving this kneecap down this way, okay? So that as I'm pulling this, I'm also dropping behind the kneecap, so the pressure is tremendous on the kneecap. Now the other leg, let's talk about the other leg. Every limb has a function. There should not be a dead limb. So this limb is not sitting in the center, not having contact. This limb is extending and hitting this calf because I want to be able to push this leg out. So go back a sec. So if I'm doing both, I've landed in this pocket. I'm driving my kneecap down this way so that I can manipulate it and hold it. As I'm pulling back with this leg, I'm kicking the other one out. And now I've had back exposure at this point. So this is what I was on the last class. I explained at this point, I am not high enough right now to throw this leg over. So my first reaction is I don't want this guy moving freely and mobile. So I take this leg and I staple the calf. You will have two things that occur depending on your height and size of the individual. If you are 6'4" and he's 5'5", you're going to have a hard time taking this leg out. But then that means that this arm was so long that I can capture in here, make this turn this way and hold him down. So if you are much, much taller, your combo's different because you're going to have a problem taking this leg out because your limb is so long and his is so short that you're going to have a problem stapling his calf in enough time. So you're like this at this point. I'm going to say that the equation's flipped, that he is the bigger player and I'm the smaller one. So this retraction on this leg is small so that I staple the calf. I'm stepping on his calf right now at this point because I want to slide up and take command of this back shoulder line. So as I've stapled his calf, I slide up and now I'm totally behind your shoulder line. That allows me to throw this over. Upon throwing this over, I'm going to ask you right now that we start getting into the habit that as soon as we get into this position, we're underneath the neckline. This hand, do your best to get it as far over the top and hide it. If you can bury it with your chin, bury it. You're going to want to pull your hand out. Don't pull it like this. Because if I pull it, it gets stuck. So I put it to his chest so it slides out easy. The moment it slides out, I'm marrying my hands right on top of each other. He's going to be pulling down my hand. I don't want that to occur. I was holding my hand while I was doing my best to keep this position. So as I marry my hands up, they should be one on top of the other. As I slide them through, I've now connected them where this one's on my bicep, this one's behind his shoulder line. I don't retract back. I actually retract down and then cut the ankle. You okay, get off? Yeah. Sorry about that. Oh. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Okay, so I don't retract back. I actually now retract in. There should be no gapping between my elbow line and his chest. So when I finish the move at this point, as I'm pressing in, I'm retracting my shoulder this way. Okay, so whatever your tracking hand is, your choking hand, is the shoulder retraction that'll finish it off on the end. So don't do this. Don't start pulling him backwards. I'm not pulling backwards. I'm actually coming forward and squeezing down to squeeze my elbows together and now retract this shoulder on the finish. Okay? So we went through a whole cycle on that. Let's see if we can partner it up and then we'll play variations off the outside leg. Let's do it, guys. I'm gonna come like this and pull. There should be no gapping between these two portions, right? Regardless of what it is. Because I want to be able to control this limb. And then later on, let's just say I'm controlling this limb and I take this hand and come here and now retract your kneecap so it touches the mat. And now I have angle to throw over the top with this leg, right? So you can see it starts to play out a lot of good ways for me, right? Or whoever the attacking opponent is. So I want to control this limb, right? No, non-stop. Because even if I retract my leg back, I always call it quarter seconds because at the highest level, it really is a quarter second. That's where you have the position to get to another position. So I'm trying to buy my quarter second to get to the other spot. But, so there's no gapping between me here and here. As I'm pulling, that inner thigh should ride the hamstring so that I'm affecting the limb in the center portion, but I have control of the top, control on the bottom of the limb, okay? Now, Pete, my goal at this point, the reason I had him do that move a second ago where he retracted is because sometimes you'll experience that somebody's not breaking down to the hip because you're doing everything here, and then because of the mechanics of the move, he's 6'3", and his ankle is like this far, and your limbs are small, and if you try to connect this guy to here, he doesn't reach up here, and now mechanics have changed. Like you're supposed to do this move, and you're like, doesn't work. Yeah, I know, it doesn't work. You're right. It's just mechanically, it's wrong. So now at this point, when you're yanking and he's not breaking down because he's so big, at this point, remember where our grips were. We were here when nothing's changed. The only thing that you're doing is retracting your bottom kneecap so that it can support your body weight. Slide it out for me. No, but don't take it out, right? Right? Yes, that's all I want. I want to maintain my hook. So I want to have position inside. So go back again and do it minimal. Hold on to him. He's your tool. He is your physical tool, like you're rock climbing. So take that knee out for me. That's it. And now throw your secondary hook and go live up top. There you go, right? So now you can start to see how this plays out. I want to play it out other ways also, but this is the one we're going to do right now. Upon landing there, I'm going to ask you to keep doing the same thing. Fight to get underneath his neck. The reason I'm bringing it up, let Paul land for a second, like we did before with the choke. He pulls him down here, and now he's done everything and sliding up, right? He's not going to start doing any choke. Down for a second, right? So if you start going, go back, you're down here, and you start going for a rear naked choke, look at your position. You're never even going to get over here, dude. So why would you risk this silly move at this point? You haven't taken command of the rear deltoid lines with your front pectorals, so you don't have a neck. Unless you're freaking, he's like 4 feet tall and you're 8 feet tall, like you don't have the angle, okay? So now at this point, when you slide up, shoot your hand, perfect, stay right there. Whatever this is, reason I'm having you shoot it is because let's say you couldn't get around the neck. For whatever reason, mechanically, it wasn't big enough. Whatever, your hands were too short, he was too wide, he was too big, I didn't get it, all different reasons. He's like this. I could always take this hand and latch it onto this guy, and now I start blading these guys up because now you're pulling at my arm. But I've made a connection behind your deltoid at this point. Let me have this guy back. I'm holding on too. And now your hand's stuck over here and you're trying to pull me down and trying to get, but all you did, I'm getting you into the habit of throwing this thing over because I latch it on now. And now I start really cranking it over the top because it's very hard. And now we can marry those guys up on the backside. So that's why I'm having you like, don't stop, because sometimes it's just that move to get underneath the neck and now it's a nightmare for him. So let's try the second move one more time, right? You did everything exactly the same and you're going, man, I can't get this guy's hip to break down and he's counter-levering the other way on me, right? And he did everything, wide wedge, he slid, he hit the back line and he's pulling and P's like this, right? So P's gonna fall if he comes up. So this right here is your friend. This is your rock that you're gonna climb up on because he's taking me this way. So my kneecap will come out, P stable. That's right there. And now what did Ethan do? He stabilized the deltoid lines behind the pectorals. So now he's got control, right? Even if he never got this leg in, right? Let's say he never got over there. Remember that hook over here? Why can't he marry up with a quarter Nelson, right? And now he's got this hook and that hook. And now when we go over, I take command because he got a cross-diagonal pack on you, right? So we could take this a lot of ways. Let's practice the one right now where we do get the secondary hook in, right? And then we could play it off of the quarter Nelson. We could play it in so many angles afterwards, all right? So let's do the same move. You could do the first one, and then you do the second one. And I'd love to add, if time permitting, I think that we do three different ones depending on where his weight distribution is on me. Okay, let's partner up. Just go through the motions. You'll have very limited success. And then you're repeating bad habits, right? Go into the move, right? And I see people doing it a lot of different ways. Eighth comes here, he comes here, right? And he's pulling. And this is where I stop it right now. Go back 1 second. Go back, drop your leg. And I see people right now trying to take this knee out, right? You're not there yet, dude. And now pull this leg like you did before, okay? He's like this. And you're trying, and Paul's hip is not touching the floor like I just told you. And now he's trying to get back up. He's trying to make this arm drag happen again for him at that angle. He's in his head, he has these intentions of regaining his position. Look at Ethan. He's got control here. Slide the knee out for me. That's what you need to do, right? I can't let go of this control. And now I see this leg all different places. Go back 1 second. I'll see people like this, with this leg up in the air like this. And now they're taking this leg out. You're not going to do that. Moment you go do this, he's going to spin around that kneecap and he's going to hit you with another drag, right? I don't want any of that to happen, right? I want to be here. And now Paul's doing, I'm trying everything I can to pull this man down. And it's not happening. So he releases here, doesn't let go of here. I'm not going to let this go. Take that kneecap out and pull yourself up. That's what you want. Now you're on top of him. And now what could he possibly do? Does he lay back down? What if he shoulder roll and take his back on the other side for me? Not that way, the other way, right? You're like this, and he shoulder on the other side, right? But you did everything wrong in the beginning, and now you're reinforcing bad habits. You're just doing it like it's not going to have any success. And then you're in your head. And one of the things I always find fascinating about BJJ is when I talk about it, I could give a shit about fighting. And I've coached it for a long time. I know a lot about it. I know a lot about street fighting, UFC, like what works, what doesn't. I sent him a video of Mark Coleman yesterday, and he's north-south on a guy in Pride and just wailing on his knee, on his head. Like, they don't allow that anymore. That's real. That's real. Like, I submit anybody, go north-south, pin you, and knees are just rain. I mean, the guy, just the severity of those concussions, they just couldn't allow it anymore. The men were not coming back. You ever see Alan Gomez get kneed in the head? He never fought again, and he was a world-class BJJ. I never saw that guy fight again. I don't know what happened to him. So go back in there. He's going on the drag and play. The reason I know I get off track for a second. The reason I say is that BJJ is so meditative that like you get lost in the trance of the roll. Learn to get lost in the trance of the drill, because play the storyline in your head. Then you're just going through moves. Like, you don't want to do that. Like, I care about you guys getting better. That's why I emphasize it. It's like, that's what Mr. John Danaher taught me to do. And he's right. Like, visualize it. Go ahead, go to the moon, go slow, right? He's hitting this drag, and now he's resetting. He comes here, he grabs that, trying to break him down. Paul's not going break down. Boom, take that, and now he's on top. Maybe Paul, now we know, we're not gonna say Paul rolls this way, because he gave up his back. So they roll the other way, sir. Boom, he's on the back on the other side, getting choked out. Okay, let's part up and do it again. So I had a question here, he comes here, he comes here, he retracted kneecap. Paul's fighting like crazy to get back up, retracted kneecap. And then it's not realistic for him to fall this way, right? Because then he basically gave up his back. When he goes over this way, this hook was already in. So when you land on your back, do not stop pulling with this hook, because you're gonna get one more quarter turn that's gonna end up perfectly on the other side. Go ahead, start it. Pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it. There goes your quarter turn. This pocket was always open. You were always blocking this portion. So you're going to get, so when you make the rotational turn, don't stop pulling with this leg, because you want to end up in one more quarter on the other side.
What's up?